Good morning, everyone, both here and online. Welcome to the Global Disclosure Dialogue in São Paulo, an integral part of a series of events marking the debut of CDP's new platform and questionnaire. Today, our journey has taken us from Tóquio to Xangai, Singapore, Mumbai, Brussels, London, and São Paulo, with New York up next. It's my pleasure to introduce Simon Fischweiker, CDP's Director of Supply Chain and Report Services. Please.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Thank you so much for bringing me and inviting me here to this event in São Paulo. Welcome to those of you here in the room today. We're excited to engage in person. I'm so excited to see so many of our key stakeholders across the public, private sector, and capital markets here in this room, but also to the many of you online who represent stakeholders from around the world. This is the first time CDP has done this type of event where across the 24 hours of the day, we're bringing together entire value chains, entire financial streams that are running the world, helping move products and services forward, but also playing that critical nature of bringing climate and nature data together. So this is why we're here today. We're here to discuss nature, right? And why is our focus on nature so important? Well, we know that climate and nature cannot be separated. Science tells us to solve the climate crisis, we need nature-based solutions. But to preserve our natural environment, we need to solve the climate crisis. And so no longer can we look at climate change and nature as two separate issues, but they need to be brought together. Not only does science tell us this, but business strategy also needs to reflect an integration of climate and nature into holistic planning around risk management and opportunities. And for those businesses looking at climate change only in isolation, you may be missing out on understanding risks that affect your business more holistically, but also more importantly, on opportunities to drive more competitive differentiation when thinking about a business that succeeds in a world where climate and nature are critical. I've been with CDP nearly 10 years, and I've seen across that time not only a rapid increase in climate disclosure and the setting of science-based targets, transition plans related to a 1.5 degrees Celsius world, but also a rapid increase in disclosure on water security and deforestation. And as of 2022, thousands of companies beginning to report on biodiversity. This is why CDP's role is so foundational. We bring together this environmental data and put it at the heart of business decision-making on supply chains, capital markets, policy, but also cities, states, and regions. As we heard earlier in CDP's Global Disclosure Dialogue, CDP has made a commitment to align and integrate with the TNFD, and we heard from Tony Goldner from the TNFD on their role in harmonizing and standardizing disclosure on nature, akin to what the TCFD, apologies for the acronym soup that is sustainability, right? But TNFD, Task Force for Nature-Related Financial Disclosure, and TCFD, Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosure, have really played a key role in standardizing the language of the environment into the language of finance. And CDP's role is to bring that together into a comparable, structured data set that allows us to bring climate and nature at the heart of decision-making across the economy. That's why this year and today, as we launch our 2024 disclosure cycle with this unique one-of-a-kind global dialogue, we're excited to announce our first ever integrated questionnaire, where we used to have a climate, forest, and water security questionnaire as three separate questionnaires addressing these critical issues in three separate pillars. This year, we're bringing these questionnaires into a single questionnaire, allowing that data to be streamlined, but also encouraging companies to think holistically about climate and nature across their value chains, their business decisions, and arm the capital markets and policymakers with data to do the same. With that in mind, I will have a conversation later with my good friend, Mr. Marcos Ivo from Klabin, who is the Chief Financial Officer in Investor Relations, and I know Joyce will do some introductions, so I'll sit down and let her take over from there.
Thank you, Simon Fischweicker. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce Rebecca Lima, Executive Director of CDP Latin America.
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all, those of you here in the room and the entire CDP community all over the world. As Simon just said, and we know pretty well, here in Latin America, in Brazil, it's impossible to separate climate and nature. And we have seen extreme weather events reaching us really heavy lately here in the region, especially in Rio Grande do Sul state. And that's why we urge you, business, governments, and the entire community to join us in this activity, in this fight against climate change, but not only climate change, but thinking environmental issues all over together. And that's why today we focus on nature. And as Latin America, we're proud to represent CDP as we begin all the discussion, these important discussions on how nature and climate and environmental issues are so critical to foster corporate and governmental action in this ecosystem. And that's why, as we're comment today during other sections and these sections today, it's so important to bring together all the different questionnaires and environmental issues together, because in this way, by streamlining reporting, we are able to ask the right questions to the right organizations in the right way, without duplication. And as our CEO, Sharon Madera, said early today as well, we'll be able to, with one single answer, we'll be able to write once with many. And with that being said, thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a very good event today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And now we have a special message from Carolina Dias Giraldo, Director of Environment and Sustainable Development of Colombia National Planning Department, highlighting Colombia's advancement in sustainable finance and the pivotal role of CDP's environmental data.
Como sociedad enfrentamos tres grandes crisis: cambio climático, pérdida de biodiversidad y la crisis del agua. Y para gestionarlas hay que entender, o más bien hay que repensar las relaciones entre economía, ambiente, sociedad, mercado e innovación. No es una tarea fácil porque exige una alineación entre los sistemas y nos exige entender las tensiones que existen entre las dimensiones del desarrollo. Y para esto es necesario avanzar de forma efectiva hacia la carbono-neutralidad y la resiliencia climática, que es una meta país y que es una ambición nuestra como Colombia para ser potencia mundial de la vida. ¿Cómo ser más efectivos en la acción climática? Hay que partir de lo fundamental, y es el acceso a la información transparente, consistente y de amplia cobertura. Cuando las instituciones de gobierno, las entidades financieras, el ecosistema empresarial cuenta con información de valor y estratégica sobre qué es la acción climática, cómo permite una mejora en sus procesos y sobre todo el porqué de su importancia, ocurre un efecto detonante. Y es que la acción climática se acelera, el nivel de riesgo se reduce y se generan escenarios de confianza para promover el involucramiento de una multiplicidad de agentes del desarrollo que son esenciales para abordar la crisis climática. Agentes que reconocen el sentido de urgencia y que también identifican allí una oportunidad. En este sentido, la plataforma llamada CDP promueve la divulgación de información desde los gobiernos centrales, subnacionales y corporativos a nivel mundial, para que proporcionen mejor información que respalde la transparencia del mercado, una asignación de capital más informada y que se identifiquen los riesgos y las oportunidades de la sostenibilidad como factores de competitividad y de recuperación económica. En Colombia tenemos una institucionalidad ambiental y de cambio climático robusta, y hojas de ruta claras para ser más eficientes en el uso de nuestro capital natural, agua, suelo, aire, energía, biomasa, y para cumplir con nuestras metas climáticas con un enfoque de proteger y hacer un buen uso de los recursos naturales como base para esa transformación productiva, donde el sector público y el sector privado encuentran espacios de trabajo colaborativo. Frente a la movilización del financiamiento climático en Colombia, estamos invirtiendo en promedio cerca de unos 2 billones de pesos al año. El 10% de los flujos financieros son del sector privado. Sin embargo, a nivel mundial, el portafolio de inversiones está balanceado 50-50 entre lo público y privado. Eso significa que en Colombia hay una oportunidad importante de involucramiento y de un mayor esfuerzo del sector privado. Si nos concentramos en el sector empresarial, sabemos que en Colombia el 99% son micro, pequeña y mediana empresa. Y por eso celebramos que la plataforma del CDP, a partir del 2024, esté incluyendo todo este segmento empresarial y ayude a crear escenarios de confianza donde la información sirva de oportunidad y como un habilitador hacia un desarrollo sostenible, competitivo, justo y que avanza hacia el compromiso climático. Desde Departamento Nacional de Planeación queremos promover la divulgación de información relacionada con los avances que el sector privado está teniendo en agua. Colombia tiene una oferta hídrica 5 veces mayor que el promedio mundial. Sin embargo, sufrimos de estrés hídrico en las regiones donde se concentra la mayor proporción de población. Bosques. Somos un país de bosques, coberturas del 53% del territorio, pero con tasas de deforestación anual entre 130.000 y 150.000 hectáreas al año. Clima. Un 7% de nuestra población está en condiciones críticas de riesgos climáticos y cuando ocurren los desastres, amplias afectaciones en el sector de vías, agro y empresarial es lo que estamos viviendo. Queremos que las empresas y los mercados de capitales vean una oportunidad crucial para mejorar la protección y el manejo del recurso hídrico, reducir los motores de deforestación, contar con estándares de trazabilidad y la certificación de productos, reducir los riesgos climáticos y tener unas métricas robustas de medición. Los invitamos a conocer la plataforma del CDP y que este sea un marco de colaboración para reconocer las oportunidades de la transición verde y justa, ser más efectivos en la reducción de emisiones y en la construcción de resiliencia climática en el largo plazo y, sobre todo, apoyar al país en el contexto internacional y que seamos líderes mundiales en la lucha contra el cambio climático.
Okay, let's continue with the fireside chat on the utilization of environmental data. Please welcome again, Simon Fischweiker, CDP's Director of Supply Chain and Report Services. Again. And Marcus Ivo, Chief Financial and Investor Relations Officer of Klabin.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Very excited for this conversation. Klabin is one of just 11 AAA list companies globally, and the only in Latin America, which means an A grade on climate change, forests, and water security. And so really a perfect company to have on the stage as we talk about nature in Latin America. And also a perfect company to talk about the importance of sustainability reporting beyond a tick box exercise. We know for some, CDP may appear something that needs to be done as part of a sustainability agenda, but may not be recouping or understanding the value that that exercise creates. However, for companies like Klabin who use this data and understand the importance of this data towards managing risk and taking advantage of opportunity, this data can be a critical management tool, but also arm investors, policymakers, and purchasers with data to make informed decisions that integrate climate and nature into the center of the business. So let's start with the importance of climate and nature on a global level in terms of Latin America's role. In particular, we know that COP on nature coming to the region this year and on climate next year. So a major global focus on this region of the world. Why is it so important for companies to disclose data on climate and nature for us to achieve the Paris Agreement and global biodiversity framework?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, sharing ideas and thoughts about this very important subject for us and for the next generations. Simon, as we have a very short time, I brought some notes because if I don't follow my notes, I will stay here for 1 hour and everybody will sleep and I will stay here speaking.
I would be the same, so I think it's good we both have iPads up here.
All right. I love the expression, we don't have a plan B because we don't have a planet B. We have just one planet. So in our view, we all need to work together to deliver the sustainability global goals, and the disclosure of high quality data is critical for that. I consider high quality data essential not only for capital markets, but for companies, for governments, and the population overall. I can't see good public policies without data. All public policies should be underpinned on good quality data. For companies like Klabin, for example, good data is essential to manage the risks. With good data, we are able to understand the risks and the opportunities, because we talk a lot about risks, but of course we have also opportunities. So everything starts with good data, high quality data, to understand and then to manage the risks and try to leverage the opportunities. I think in Klabin, we try to align our long-term history in sustainability in best practice with good data. In 2021, we launched our ESG panel, where we present Klabin commitments, goals, KPIs, and accountability for all sustainability-related financing, such as green bonds, sustainability-linked bonds. Also, Klabin has been reporting our results based on the main frameworks, such as CDP, TCFD, SASB, and others.
Excellent. Well, I'm really glad that you led with the importance of data. CDP obviously is the heart of environmental data, and that's critical to businesses, it's critical to capital markets, but I'm glad you also mentioned policy there, because the data that CDP collects allows us to also inform effective policy that aligns with what's possible from a business perspective. But I think I would love to dig in on the connection of climate and nature, and maybe the sort of missed opportunities and the risks that companies may be blind to. For Klabin, I know this is something that's really important to have that holistic and integrated thinking. What's the risk of addressing climate change in isolation? What opportunities might businesses be missing out on, as you talked about the opportunity side as well, if they're not thinking about issues like biodiversity or deforestation or water security alongside climate change?
A great question. Looking only on climate change in isolation leaves organization exposed for several risks. We really do believe that. Climate change is just one aspect of a broader environmental and social challenges. Ignoring other factors such as biodiversity loss, and in Brazil biodiversity it's very important, everybody knows. Water scarcity, water is a challenge for the world. We are not looking for that, but water could be a very problem for the world. And the social inequality, of course, here we have a big problem in social inequality, but we have this problem in many parts of the world, including in rich countries, can result in an incomplete assessment of risks. I think stakeholders expect organizations, private organizations, governments, and the others to address a wide range of environmental and social issues, not just climate change. I think data can be very useful to mitigate those risks. I try to organize my way that I see how data can mitigate those risks in three main ways. The first is analyze multiple environmental and social indicators, enable organizations to gain a comprehensive understand, a broader understand of risks beyond climate change. With this information, the companies will be able to create a robust risk management. And the risk management is something very important for all companies, for capital markets, and so on. Second way, the data analytics can be used to develop early warning systems. I mean, companies will understand early the risks, then they will be able to mitigate in a proactive way those risks. And the third way, the transparent reporting enhances stakeholders' engagement and trust. And the trust, it's very important for all companies. Providing stakeholders with access to reliable data on sustainability performance, organizations demonstrate their commitment to transparency and accountability, mitigating reputational risks and building trust with investors, customers, and communities.
Wonderful. And many companies are effectuating or trying to achieve that. But certainly at Klabin, as a triple A-list company, I think you've embodied some of those three aspects you mentioned. We have many folks in the room, but also many more online who are at various stages in their reporting journeys and their sustainability journeys. How have you been so successful at Klabin in bringing climate and nature together holistically?
Achieving a AAA rating with CDP for 3 consecutive years is the result of a long-standing commitment to sustainability. Probably you don't know, but Klabin is celebrating 125 years, so Klabin has more than 10 years of history, and sustainability was always an important topic for the company, even before the word sustainability existed. I could stay here for 1 hour giving some examples of the history of Klabin sustainability, but I think this is not the idea. And for us, it's impossible to separate these subjects. We need to have always a holistic view about the nature. We always seek an integrated approach in our sustainability agenda. A good example is our 2030 plan, an initiative aimed to align Klabin's operations and strategies with the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. This involves integrating sustainability principles across all areas of the company's operation, include environmental, social, and economic aspects. Another thing very important for Klabin was our experience with CDP and the other frameworks. Klabin considered those frameworks as a development opportunity, and it has yielded excellent results for Klabin. We currently have more than 100 talented people working in our ESG team, which is a proof of how the company prioritizes this agenda. Also, something that I consider very important for companies is the alignment with the executives team. Starting 2022, all Klabin executives' individual global goals included a sustainability index. I mean, the bonus of the executives team is related to ESG indicators. This index comprises a set of targets related to the company's key sustainability targets, selected at the beginning of each year based on the key challenges for progresses during that period. This practice is mandatory for the company's officers and managers and includes environmental, safety, diversity, and community engagement indicators. To end my answer, we really do believe in Klabin that sustainability it's a journey, and we have always space to improve.
Well, it's amazing how quickly time can go. I think we only have about a minute left. So my last question to you actually is going to dig in a little bit to your role as an executive and some of the decisions that you're making as a chief financial officer. And I think it's great to have a chief financial officer here at an event on climate and nature, because I'm interested to hear how you're thinking about investment in financial decisions and bringing climate and nature data into those as an executive, as someone who's responsible for the financial position of Klabin.
We always try to connect the strategy of the company with the data related to the nature, because as I said before, this is a risk management but also this is an opportunity to leverage sometimes the business of the company. Just to give a concrete example, the most important competitive advantage of Klabin is the forests. Our forest is located in Paraná and Santa Catarina state in the south of Brazil. We have the highest productivity in the world. I think it's easy for everybody to understand the connection between the productivity of the forestry with the water, the biodiversity, and the nature as a whole. Consider that Klabin has an integrated business model. I mean, we planting our forestry, then we produce pulp. With this pulp, we produce paper, then we produce packaging made from paper. So everything starts in the forestry. The productivity of the forestry will allow the company to be very competitive. In the end of the day, this is present in our current results and will be the driver for future investment decisions. Another good example, Klabin has been investing in the last couple of years in products to reduce the water consumption, the fossil fuels, and to reduce the waste sent to landfills. All these initiatives combine value creation in a very financial way with good externalities. Klabin always pay attention with externalities. We try to mitigate and to reduce negative externalities, and we try to leverage positive externalities. We also have an internal price for CO2 emissions. All products are evaluated considering the CO2 emissions and the externalities. Sometimes we don't see other companies looking for externalities, but we do believe that considering the long term, this is essential for the companies. And just to conclude my answer, I think the time is over. We have been monetizing our history of sustainability efforts by issuing green financing, such as green bonds, sustainability-linked bonds. I would like to highlight that the sustainability-linked bond of Klabin was the first in the world considering a target related to biodiversity, and the other loans linked to a sustainability goal. In the end of March, 34% of our total debt was classified as green, and the Klabin will keep growing this number in the future.
Incredible, and it's great to see that linkage of finance and nature and climate. So please, a huge round of applause to Mr. Marcos Ivo from Klabin. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Joyce. Thank you so much.
Thank you.